afternoon, everybody. I'm Shay Ali here with you on Inspired Online. And this afternoon, we have the amazing pleasure of welcoming the beautiful Su Mee Tan. Now, Su Mee and I go back a long time, right? I forgot to ask you actually before we went live, how old were we when we actually met? I remember it being like maybe 13 or so when we were
Oh,
pen pals.
we were, I don't know, maybe 13, 15, 14. I think the first time we actually met is the first time I went, I left the country by myself. So I must have been 18, because obviously I went to see you in London. It's a
I think
long
you were a
time
bit younger
ago.
then. It was, oh gosh, we're
Oh,
going
I don't know.
completely opposite.
Oh, a
But yeah,
long time ago, Shay.
a very long time. Oh, not that long. I mean, we're so young.
No, good point.
But yeah, we met when we were about 13 and we were exchanging letters between Amsterdam and London. And then Sime came to London and we discovered the delights of Haagen-Dazs.
Oh, I remember those days. Too much cake and too much ice cream. It was amazing.
I know, as a teenager, this was the ideal meal, and that is exactly what we went to do. But as an adult or as adults, we've met up many, many more times. I had a period in my life where I was in Amsterdam pretty much once a month. And, you know, Sume used to work in London as well. She was working for a big corporate law firm doing change management and training. So super talented in that sense, but wanted to really stay in the background. So if you're somebody that wanted to stay invisible and then wanted to break through and break out of that, Sime is a great example of that. So she went from doing that and being very successful and talented at that to retraining as a coach and you know, now inspiring other people in different ways. So she does run our Inspired in Amsterdam, as well as a lot of her own personal pursuits, which at the moment include stand-up, improv, lots of creative stuff that she does in the world. So I'm delighted that you finally agreed to come on and talk to me.
You know, this felt like a really scary thing to do. It's funny you say how I always wanted to be in the background, and all I'm thinking is, oh my God, we're being recorded. Why am I doing this? Which is exactly the journey that I've gone through. Like, yeah, I want to do this.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, for those of you actually, firstly, who are nervous about doing sort of more visible things, Sume is a great example of JFDI. Just do it, guys. You know, and it's all good. But yeah, no, lovely to have you on here. And we'll start with the inspired question of, if you had to share your wisdom with the world in a nutshell, what would you say?
That is such a good question. And obviously I knew you were going to ask. And it's what we ask when we do Inspired. I've been running the event, obviously not now because we can't get together.
Yeah.
And I've often thought about it. If I had that time to share my wisdom with the world, what would I say? And I think for a long time I thought, well, I don't have any wisdom to share. That's why I want to run Inspired, because other people have wisdom.
Oh,
And the wisdom is in there, because for me, it all comes down to, we all have something to say,
hmm,
all of us. We're
you do.
and it's inspiring, and it's being yourself and not thinking that you don't have anything to say.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I mean, you actually ran, you know, the London branch was very successful, but I will have to give you a shout out and say the Amsterdam branch was super successful as well. I mean, and it will be again, you know, both of them. But, you know, from the beautiful place that you found to host it in Amsterdam to, you know, it was just a really lovely, cozy storytelling space that, you know, attracted so many people. And obviously, you know, there's a reason for that as well. So I think, you know, there's real value in having that energy to bring people together, as well as those that are sharing from the stage their wisdom. And, you know, everybody has something to say. So what were some of your favorite moments of wisdom that happened when Inspired was live?
I think what has stayed with me from the event is, obviously there's a lot of stories, but for me, it's very much the way that people are. That everyone, before the event, comes up to me and says, "Yeah, but what if people don't like it? What if I don't know what to say?
Mm,
Do I even have a story to share?" But 10 minutes is really long. And what has stayed with me is that afterwards they all say, actually, I do have a story.
Yeah.
And people come up to me afterwards saying, I love the speakers. It resonated so much. And it just, for me, it just goes to show that everyone has a story to share.
Mm.
And I love that. And I've made it my mission in life to help people see that we all have something to say, and that you don't need to have big life changes, because
Mm.
it can be little things. It can be really inspiring. Often it is the little things.
Yeah, well, I would completely agree. And I mean, there's, another thing about, what you've done with your life, as well as, having that amazing career and then transitioning. And in fact, let's talk about that for a moment. What made you do the transition into coaching? How did that come about?
Well, there were two things. I think I didn't really know what to do with my life. And it was kind of an impulse buy. I am a bit of an impulse buyer, I have to say. I have two kids, and I was flying around the world, and I loved my job. I absolutely loved it. I met so many amazing people. And then when I had my second son, I was like, well, and I also want to have an impact on the world, because what kind of world am I creating for my children? And I think a lot of parents go through that feeling of, I want to create a better world for my children, and for me and for everyone else, but mostly for my children.
Yeah.
And there was that, yeah, but how am I going to do that? Who am I?
Mm.
Can I even have an impact? It's only me. What do I know? So I found a coach, just because out of sheer desperation. I think, like, I don't know what to do. What am I going to do? Let's go talk to someone that knows. So I found a coach, who was awesome. And one of the first things she asked me was what I wanted to do with my life. And that was such a big question, because I had no idea. And I don't think we ask ourselves that question enough. That what is it you want? Not
Mm.
what do other people want for you, but what do you want?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I wanted to create a better world. And I know it sounds really big. And at the same time, I think that's what we all want, maybe
Mm.
in different ways, and we go about in different ways. But we all want to create a better world, make it a little bit nicer, friendlier,
Yeah.
where you can just be yourself. Um,
Absolutely.
yeah, and that's where the impulse buy came in, because my coach said, well, if that's what you want to do, what are you going to do about it? And I said, well, I don't know, because I don't have the skills. So I need to learn something new. What am I going to do? I don't know. You're a coach. You tell. Oh, I'll be a coach. How do I do that? I don't know. I need some training. And I rang up the training company of the company that she trained with.
Mm.
And I liked the person that I spoke to.
Oh, wow.
I that's what the impulse buy is. I didn't really read what the training was about. Looking back, I think that was ridiculous. Why did you not even look into it? But I liked the person, so I signed up because it felt right.
Mm. I think there's so many amazing lessons there. Well, firstly, that amazing lesson in sales. I mean, people, you come across so many people that are like, I don't know how to sell my stuff. And, look at what Su Mee did. It's not really about, selling your stuff. It's about, giving people the benefit of the service that you offer. And, from that, it's like, do you connect? Do you like that person? And if you do, they'll do business with you, and that's as simple as that. So that's awesome. And then the other awesome thing is around that question of what do you want, and giving yourself that gift of through your own eyes, your own filters, your own model of the world, what is it that would really light you up, rather than what's going to light up my employees. I mean, maybe that's a good question as well, but I think we forget self in all the other people that we think about. And, I think that's so valuable. And yeah, that was the other thing I was going to acknowledge as well. Not only did you have this really successful career, but, you did it with a young family as well, a beautiful husband, two kids. And, well, I've got to ask you this, what have they taught you? Because I think that's also something that so many people aspire to as well. And maybe people who have it forget that too.
What have my children taught
Mm.
me, you mean? Oh, so many things. How long do you have? It's,
Much as you want.
I think mostly it's being curious about the world, being in the moment, and just trying out things. And you'll fail a lot.
Mm,
and that's how you learn. It's okay, and you'll get there. Because I know this is a cliche, and it was only when I saw it in my own kids that I realized it's a cliche, because it's true. Like,
mm,
when children learn to walk, they don't go and learn, then fall, and they go, oh, I don't think I can do this. This is not for me.
mm.
They know it's going to happen. And it's that trust that I had to learn. Like, being a coach, can I do this? Can I learn this? Oh, I don't know. And I can. And for me, now I know it's who I am. It's not a question of, am I learning the skills? And that comes back to the question of, what is it you want? So my children wanted to learn how to walk, and a lot of other stuff, but also to learn how to walk.
Mm.
I want to make an impact. I want to help people see how awesome they are. And that's just who I am.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's ask ourselves that question. What is you want? What is
So,
it you want?
so valuable. And I think also the other side of being a coach is, you can be their champion and stuff. So using that example of your kids walking, not only did your children have the determination, right, I am going to walk, but, as their parent, you're never going to say, oh yeah, you didn't do that right, let's give up on you.
Yeah, it's seeing the good in everything,
Yeah.
and especially in kids, because you have to encourage them sometimes, and also have the belief that they can do it, that you could do it, that without comparing them to other children. Or that's another thing that I learned. Obviously, I was reading a lot, especially with my first. Like, this is when they're going to walk. This is when they're going to talk. Obviously, that didn't happen
Were you planning
according
it
to the book.
diarising?
I wasn't planning it, but it was a bit of, yeah, but the book says this is going to happen and he's not doing it. Oh, is there something wrong? And of course, there wasn't anything wrong. And he's fine. They're both fine. They're just not doing things by the book. And I don't think anyone is doing that. But
Yeah.
it's that looking as an adult as well, looking at other people, looking at other coaches in my case. Like, this is where they are. That's not where I am. So I must be doing something wrong. And actually, that's not it. It's just different.
Mm, absolutely.
We all have our own pace. I remember, I know you started this this by saying we go back a long way, and I remember way back I used to look at all the things that you were doing, and it's like, that's amazing. I could never do that. And now
Thank
the question I ask is, do I even want to do it? And sometimes the answer is yes, so I go and do it.
Yeah.
And sometimes the answer is no, actually, I love how good you are at certain things, and they're not for me, and
Yeah.
that's okay.
Oh, that's awesome as well. I mean, I remember when for a brief period, I used to take people out shopping and style them, and some people would be really scared, or you're going to make me look like you. And, not that you look bad, but you look eccentric. And that's not me. And I think, there's a real value in, obviously I didn't do that. I think there's such value in who are you and who do you want to portray in the world. And some things that other people do are going to work for you, and some things that other people do are going to not. So, but let's talk a little about that. One of the things that we spoke about recently was my accents class, and then you told me and then you told me about your stand up and improv and all that. So what got you into that?
Oh, it was another impulse buy. One of these, I remember, excuse me, hang on.
It's all right. I love
Why?
I love it. Why not? I think my
So,
stand up was an impulse buy as well. I saw an article in a paper while you're drinking your tea. And that article was like, learn stand up comedy. And I thought, yeah, all right. I'll go to the intro evening, and it sounded like many weeks of like play. I thought, great, I'm in. And then you get there and you're like, I think I was one of 4 girls in a group of 20. I mean, I think stand up is still very male led. Well, what is it like now? I don't know. I haven't done it recently.
well, I only started very recently, and the course I took, let me get this right. There's 8 of us, and I'm the only woman.
Yeah.
And I walked into the classroom the first evening, like, oh, I must be in the wrong place. It's all men.
No.
No, no. But yeah, it's still the same. And also, here's some wisdom: when you do an interview or anything online, make sure you have tea, just in case your voice goes funny.
I love it. Make sure you have tea. I do have water.
Or coffee or water, anything.
Yeah.
What was the question? Oh yes, how did I get into impulse buy? It felt right. That's the answer I give to everything now. I used to be in project management and I used to plan everything, every single thing.
Yeah.
And I think as a mother, you have to plan certain things. So I still do that. But most of the time I just go, yeah, does it feel right? Yeah, okay, let's go and do it.
And I don't know if you can answer this question, but how do you recognize what feels right?
That is a really good question.
Mm.
And I don't think there's one answer to it, because what feels right to me may not be right for you.
No, indeed. But how do you ascertain, what is right? What do you do?
Well, I tend to overthink everything. And
Apart
and
from your impulse buys.
no, I overthink those afterwards. Like,
Right.
should I have done that? And I think for me, it's when I know I want to do something and I have a lot of reasons not to do it, that's when I know it's right. So, for example, improv. As I said, I used to plan everything. So improv, I'm sure you know, there is no script. There's no preparation. That you don't know what you're doing. You just get thrown on stage and someone throws you a word and you just have to make something up. And to me, that felt like the scariest thing to do. On stage, in front of people that I don't know, no preparation, weird words, someone else with me in the scene, they could mess it up. No, which is exactly why I went to do it.
Mm. Yeah.
And it's been such a valuable life skill. It's fun as well, but to just create something from whatever people throw at you, and to make something really cool and amazing and sometimes really weird, and that's okay, with someone else, and someone that you don't know, and someone that wants you to succeed, and you want that other person to succeed. And yeah, it works in life as well.
Absolutely. So how would you translate improv to life? What do you think it would give you?
Well, there's a couple of basic improv rules that I tend to, I was going to say tend to live, but I try to live, I do my best to live by them. And one is be present, be in the moment,
Mm.
and just whatever happens, make something out of it. And you'll fail. At least I fail a lot, and that's okay. Just, I fail, I learn, and move on.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it too. I mean, the permission you have to screw up, and the um notion that mistakes are our gifts. So if someone makes a mistake, it's like, well, how do you make that a gift?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And what you were saying earlier about, I remember when we went shopping and I thought, oh, you're going to make me look like you. I don't want that. And you didn't do that. So that was good. But the kind of the weirdness, the eccentricity, you're quite out there. And I love it. I love that. This is who you are. And so this is who you are. I know I said it twice. That's how much I love it. And that's kind of the same in improv. And that's been my journey of this is who I am.
Mm.
And that's it. I was going to say it's perfect. It's probably not perfect. And that's why it's perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. It's, that concept of mistakes are our gifts. Yes, and it's not you don't reject anything in improv. It's like yes, and
Yeah, make it
it's better.
better.
Build. Yeah, no, that's
And it's basically what we're doing now.
absolutely.
Not preparing. I remember I asked you, what do I need to prepare for this? And you went, don't prepare. And I immediately went, what? Don't prepare? What? But what are we going to do? No, wait, it's okay. I can do this.
Right, I'm going to ask you another very off the wall question.
Go for it.
We've talked about your children, and I don't think it's right for me not to talk about hubby, because he's fabulous and I've known you both for like so many years. And you know, you're just like a super connected, amazing couple. And I think people would love to know, what are your secrets to keeping, you know, a relationship alive?
Oh, I wasn't expecting that question.
I know, but
Ah.
it came to me and I thought, I have to ask you. I mean, I've known you both for a very long time, as you know. So I've obviously not known him for as long as I've known you, but definitely, gosh, what, coming up
Oh,
to,
we've been together for almost 20 years. So,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Oh, that feels like such a long time when I say it out loud.
yeah.
See, so this is why I create in the moment from the question. I go, haha, here's my wisdom. What's the secret?
Well,
Uh,
let me talk about your wedding cake,
oh,
which
oh, do we really have to talk about my wedding cake?
I mean, okay, let's put it this way. Of all the weddings I've ever been to in my life, and you know, this was just such a beautiful, I think, representation of connection, which is why I mention it, and maybe will inspire you to answer the question in in whatever way you wish. But do you mind if I share what was on it?
Go for it.
Okay, so of all the weddings I've ever been to, there are two wedding cakes that have really stood out, and one of them was yours, and the other one was created by an artist, so probably probably no surprises there. But with yours, what it was and what really struck me is, you know, you had both been together a long time by then even, and you know, it was just so personal to you. So Mikhail works for the opera, so it had like the piano over it as well. And then on the top of the cake, there was, I remember not even getting married, but it
This
was
is
a
10 years ago, Shay.
I
I'm
know
impressed that you remember.
it struck a chord, right? It had a transformer, because he loved Transformers, and that was something that you connected over. And it had a bunny, because I think he'd given you this cuddly toy, and every time he was not with you, you'd have that with you to remind you of him. And instead of like a bride and groom on top of the cake, you had those. And I was just really struck by, oh my God, that's so beautiful and personal, and you know, showing like just how connected you are to each other. And you know, they also very quirky, you know. I just loved it. And then you also told me, and you didn't do this, and I'm still disappointed, but you wanted Fantasies Come True from Avenue Q to sing at your wedding.
I did sing that at other people's weddings, and I'm still available. If anyone watching wants me to sing Fantasies Come True from Avenue Q at your wedding, call me.
Well, I certainly will. I'm sure Jeff, who wrote it, will be thrilled that it's been used in that way. But yeah, let's go back to the question then. You know, I was just giving everybody some context on, you know, this is a couple that are super connected, doing great things in the world. I mean, he's got an amazing career as well in opera, and was traveling all over the place also with that. And you know, yet you guys managed to maintain that connection and that love, you know, for all those years. For 20 years, it's massive. So how do we do that?
I'm going to give you a very cheesy answer because it's true,
Please.
and the answer is music.
Okay, lovely, I love that.
So and it's both music, as in listening, playing. He plays the piano, I sing. We haven't done it for a long time, but we used to. So we used to sing at weddings songs from Avenue Q, for example. And we got together. We met at university, and it was we had a group of friends, and there was an evening where we could all perform something. And someone said to me, "You can sing, right?" So, well, yeah, but this is back in the days when I didn't want anyone to see me or hear me, or so I wasn't going to sing. So I made up an excuse to not do it. Oh, but I need a pianist, and I can only do tomorrow at 9 a.m. to rehearse. So there's no way we can do this. And then they went, yeah, but he plays the piano, and hang on, yeah, he's free tomorrow morning at 9. And that's how we got together. And I think that's also how we kept bonding.
Wow.
Music, um, yeah, and it's like it's a metaphor as well. It's, you know, find someone that understands your tune, your song, your music, and also have your own. No, this is where I get lost in the metaphor. But have your own thing as well. I mean, you don't always have to play together.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. You reminded me of lots of things. But two things came to mind. It's that. Have you seen that film Happy Feet?
Oh, the penguins.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
they, the way that they fall in love or whatever it is they connect through, what's your song, and then that's how they connect. So that's beautiful. And the other thing, one of my favorite Shakespeare quotes: "If music be the food of love, play on." And you've made, music the food of love. But I think, for those of us that are not musically minded, it's that thing about shared interests as well. And you've done that thing that brought you together, that brought you joy, and you've continued to do that. Like, I'm sure that you sing to your children at least now.
Yeah, we try to teach them the music that we love. So my children have to listen to a lot of 80s and 90s music because that's
I
what
love
I
it.
love. And then a lot of Baroque music because that's what my husband loves. So it's a bit of everything. So they can name all the instruments in an orchestra, and they love rock music. So yeah, bit of everything.
Why not? They're going to be super cultured. They already are. Wow, this time has really been flying by. Amazing. So I know we've talked about a lot of different topics, and we're not necessarily expecting it to go this way, but do you have any final thoughts that you'd like to share with our audience today?
Well, I want to come back to the first question you asked me about sharing my wisdom.
Hmm.
And you've already said this. I just want to emphasize it. If there's something that you want, just go and do it. Don't be like me and overthink it. Just go and do it.
Yeah, I'm going to just celebrate you for a minute here. What I love about what you said is that you've kind of done it first and then think. You know what I mean? You've overthought. That's the word I'm looking for. You've overthought it. And I think, lots of people can learn from that as well. I think a lot of my own success in life is I haven't necessarily overthought it. If it's a yes to me, go do it. Why wait? Do it now.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things that I've learned from you. You introduced me as the friend that you had a lot of cake and ice cream with. And I still do that. I can still have cake for lunch. And I think, well, why not? Shay does it.
I don't anymore.
Oh, I still do it.
Why not? I suppose you could have the odd day as long as that's not your regular diet. Yeah, so but yeah, break the rules, I think.
Exactly that. If it works for you, then it's fine.
Yeah, because we didn't make the rules in the first place, or maybe we made some rules, but make your own. And then
Exactly.
it's great. And yeah, all right, well, it's been so lovely to have you on here, and I can't wait to come back to Amsterdam actually, and well, firstly see you, but hopefully see Inspired Amsterdam will take off again, and hopefully that beautiful venue is still open, fingers crossed, that they've survived as well. Yeah, but how can people get in touch with you if they wish to connect?
Find me on social media. I'm on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook. Just connect with me. Drop me a message. I'd love that.
Fab. All right. Well, thank you so much for your time today. Sending you lots of love, and hopefully we will meet in person again very soon.
That'd be wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely. Take care.
Bye.